I have a seventh item on my agenda here, which is a discussion on the FOIL process. I was hoping to get a little bit more understanding because there seems to be some concern about meeting deadlines. And it seems like some requests get processed before others. And so I was trying to understand, is there a way we understand how these FOIL requests are prioritized? What is getting delayed? There's also times when a FOIL request says it's completed, but it's not, or it's incomplete information. We understand that there is some pressure on IT. I believe that some people were told that there was a Barracuda issue. Ticket was initiated on 8/27, but it was closed out and resolved on 9/12. So I'm trying to understand, is it an IT issue? Is it is there a process to FOIL? How are these things prioritized? So if I could get some understanding, and if you want to, if you want me to bring it back at the next meeting, I'm happy to do that as well. But I think it's something that merits discussion.
Sure. I have something here. So it just so happened that there was at NICOM, there was a FOIL session at just up the street. And just a couple of concepts here. Presumption of access. Every agency should start with the assumption that all government records are subject to FOIL disclosure and then review to determine whether the record or portion of the record fits into one of the permissible grounds for denial. And something that has been brought up several times. There's areas of permissible grounds for denial. Of them include unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. And first on the list is employment applications of persons not hired. I know very specifically that materials were released that did just that. And you don't get to go, oops. You don't get that back when somebody releases an employment application that you made out into the public that is then put on a blog and blasted across the community such that perhaps your current employer could find out you were looking for a job. On top of that, I personally was recently told that I made a single FOIL request. My FOIL request was not worked on, even though I was told that it was being worked on, because it was too political, and it was not important. And for the FOIL officer to make that statement to me demonstrates to me the person does not understand the job whatsoever. The fact that a value judgment would be placed on something is counter to the language of the FOIL law. And the fact that it's expressed out in the open shows that that is the intent and the method of the department as it relates to FOIL. And given that, we're talking about an AOD with the Attorney General, document control protocols. Respondents shall adopt document control protocols and technology sufficient to meet obligations under the state and federal law, including its criminal discovery obligations and FOIL obligations. If the department's being managed in such a way as personal biases are being utilized to disallow access to FOILable materials, all the technology in the world's not going to do anything.
If you'd have just come to my office with this, you wouldn't be doing this at a council meeting. My office door is always open. That particular incident we've addressed.
Really?
We do have problems with the software that's available.
How many other people's FOILs are being blocked because of political issues?
I'm just saying, I'm open to having you come and discuss. I don't think this is something we need to discuss at this council.
I do.
Well, obviously you do, but I don't think so.
I think it's important to discuss it because there are some fair points that are being made where, IT is being thrown under the bus. And I'm not saying that IT has not been short-staffed. IT is short-staffed and therefore, things might be moving slowly. But I want to point out that, if you are throwing IT under the bus, it seems fair to bring up the discussion that IT said that there was a Barracuda ticket initiated on 8/27 and closed and resolved on 9/12. But before that, if there were issues, then I think it's important we bring them up. We discuss the prioritizing process for FOIL.
I don't think I'm throwing IT out of the bus. I'm
No,
saying
but-
we have a
but-
problem with foils, and we've been trying to work through with software, but we've had problems with IT support, and that's not throwing them under the bus. We have problems with foils, just the number, and as you're well aware, we're working very hard to try and resolve those, and.
But it seems like some foils are getting prioritized over others.
Well-
Can we, is there a process in which foils, I mean, is it like a first in, first out? Is it the
not.
scope of the issue? Do we have any input on?
Well, certainly. Just make an appointment. We'll
Can
have the
we
people
have a
come in and we'll discuss
presentation
it.
at city council so we know, the city knows? Because, I mean, this is the people's right? They can foil, and people should know that their foils are not getting answered in a timely manner. And then that's a discussion to have.
Well, I guess they come by, we can figure this out.
It's not me figuring this out in my role as Commissioner of Finance. This is me asking you to help figure it out for the residents of the city.
It's a
Who
function of
deserve
the legal department.
a answer on how foils are getting prioritized and what is getting answered and how quickly. I think it is fair, and if you're not willing to discuss it, finance does have the power to have an internal audit, and we can do an internal audit and then figure out
Well,
how the foils are getting prioritized.
I'm always in favor of internal audits. I think that would be good for all of us. But I think
If that's the discussion, I will bring a resolution next meeting, and we will all vote on an internal audit over the FOIL process, and we will do one.
Well, fine. We can work it out. I just don't think this is the appropriate time or discussion.
Again, like I said,
Well, we're gonna-
I'm happy to, just
Yeah,
one second,
problem.
please. I'm happy to bring this up again, if you would like, but if you would prefer to do an internal audit, I'm happy to do that as well. My idea was to start bringing this conversation, to start having the conversation. I'm not trying to gotcha anybody. I think it's important that we
I would
discuss
think
it.
that discussion would start between us rather than in a council meeting, that's all.
But the FOIL process is the rights of the citizens. So it's important that they're also, again, like I said, it's not the Commissioner of Finance, but it's more a citizen's, access that I'm questioning. But if you would prefer an internal audit, I will bring forth the resolution next meeting to do so.
Okay. Should we move on to Public Works?
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor.
Well,
Thank
no,
you.
I was just going to,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, no, that's okay. The big concern that I have is we're going to have a conversation around the hiring of an attorney to assist us with the negotiation of this AOD with the Attorney General's office, and I know we don't see eye to eye on the type of attorney we need to hire, and this is one example of why. You're doing things that the Attorney General's AOD says don't do as a matter of policy, and that's a huge problem. And again, there are people in the audience who have legitimate reasons to request information, and I suspect they're being blocked because their political views are not in line with yours. And you have yet to show me anything to refute that. And I was told directly by the FOIL officer that mine was not fulfilled because of that very reason. I can't think you singled me out of all people to restrict from getting information. I got to think I was one of many.
Unfortunately, that was the case. And
So you
we have dealt
intentionally
with that.
singled me out.
Yeah, we have dealt with that. It's unusual to have commissioners do foils on other commissioners. It's just an odd thing.
Why, I'm not a citizen?
But we've addressed that. That was incorrect. But I think you're talking about yourself, not the general public here.
How am I any different than the general public in terms
I'm
of my
just saying, but
expectations?
that's
I
what you're
don't
talking
see, anything excluding Dylan from the rights of every citizen as it relates to FOIL.
Well, as you know, that all started because I felt you were harassing her, and I sent you an email, and then
Excuse me?
I sent you an email saying that you were harassing our.
I
in
sent in
writing.
a FOIL request
But you
on
were harassing
June
her.
26th.
And then you.
2
and then
months
you
later,
responded back.
I sent 2 months later.
This is
I
all
sent a
about you,
follow up.
Commissioner. It's not about the. It's
2
not
months
about
later,
the
I sent, no, you brought it up. 2 months later, I sent a follow-up and I said, hey, this is way past the statutory limit. When am I going to have this? I was told, oh, you'll have it by the end of the week. I waited another month plus and said, where is this? I still haven't received this. This is unacceptable. That's harassment?
That's what I'm saying. It's all about you.
Three
Commissioner,
emails
this is
over the
all
course
about
of
you.
3 months? No, sir, this is about
No,
the
it isn't.
process. Oh, really? You're intentionally violating the will stated in the AOD by the Attorney General's office, and it's about me? It is not about me, sir. It is about the conduct of the legal department and as it relates to the FOIL process. We have got things to do. As Mr. Buchan said, we got things to put in place. And one of them is not restricting access to information because you don't like who asked the question.
Okay, can we move on?
Yes, I'd like to